Right, in this video, we're going to talk about classes. So a class is a kind of like a variable. It's a little bit like a list in that um, you can kind of it's a bigger variable that includes inside of it a bunch of smaller variables, but it is a little bit more specific in that you can give them names. So we might as well just start with an example. That's probably the easiest way to understand it. Okay, so we're gonna start with the keyword class. So it always starts with class. In this case, we'll we'll do a class called employee, um, and so this will hold some information about each employee that works at our restaurant. Okay, so inside of the class, so this is how it is. So customarily, we start with a capital letter for classes. That's just the Python conventions. And then you just word the name of the class and then the colon, okay? And then the very first thing that you do is def, and then underscore underscore init underscore underscore. So this happens in every single class, and this is basically init is short for initialization. So this kind of sets up my class, okay? And then we have brackets, and then we have colon, just like we do with any other function definition. So this is a function that's going to set up our class. The very first thing in the brackets is always self. So self means you're passing yourself to this function. It will all make a little bit more sense once we get going here. Now, for each employee, I want to store a few pieces of information. One thing I want is maybe my employee ID number. Another one is the name of the person. Another one is their position. Are they, a cook or a waiter or whatever? We have maybe salary, and finally, say years of experience. So, you can put anything you want in here, whatever, pieces of information that you would like to store about, your class. Now, inside this init function, we're going to have basically self.employee ID equals employee ID, and then we're going to do the same exact thing for all of the other variables. Self dot whatever equals the thing that is passed in, basically. And the reason we do this is because when we are going to when we're going to make, say, a new employee, we're going to pass some things in here, and we need to say that like these variables are going to be for that particular employee, for that instance of the employee. Yeah, well, let's try it and see kind of what will happen. Okay, so yeah, we'll go with that for now. So we have like name of the class and then basically setting it up. Okay, now we have our main program down here. So we have all our regular stuff like print, all the other regular stuff in my program, and then I want to say, okay, I want to create a new employee. So how I do that is say employee equals, no, sorry, bracket bracket, and I need to put values for all of these things. Okay, so employee ID, maybe that's gonna be, I don't know, some random number, and name, we'll call that person Jack. Position, we'll say that person is a cook. Salary, let's make salary int, and we'll make it say 40,000. And years, that can be an int too, and we'll say that Jack has been working there for 9 years. Okay, so we've made this employee, but we haven't saved it, so we need to create a variable, and we'll say employee1 equals this. Okay, so now what I can do is I can access these variables, and I can say print employee1 dot, and then I can do name or position or salary. So let's say, name. Now if I run this, you can see it prints out his name, Jack. If I change that to say years, and we'll run that again, and all of a sudden it printed the years, right? And so we can access each variable inside of employee 1, and we could have maybe another employee, employee 2 equals employee, and then again we'll do some random things, manager, so maybe they make a bit more money and maybe they've been there 15 years. Okay, so now I can say employee 2 and maybe their ID number, and we print that, run that, and all of a sudden it prints the ID number for Shirley, okay, for my employee 2. So that's basically like the basics of it. Now there's a couple of other things to show you here. We have this function, which we always must have, again, underscore, underscore, init, underscore, underscore. You need those underscores on both sides of the init. But we can actually make other functions. And so we could have a function, say, a pretty common one is like print variables, because actually, okay, let's cancel that for a minute. We can't actually print employee 2. If I want to print all of employee 2, just like that, just like how we do with normal variables, normal list, if I run that, I get this. Okay, because it's an object, it doesn't know exactly what to print. And so we have to define that function ourselves. So def print variable, and then self. They all need self as part of it, and colon, don't forget. Now what I can do is say print self dot employee ID, print self dot name, print self dot position, print self dot salary, and finally print self dot years. Okay, so now to call this function, I go to my employee 2 and I put a dot, and then I can just call this function, print variable. And do I need the brackets? I believe I do, yes. Bracket, bracket. Be careful here, because I'm going to leave these brackets empty because it automatically supplies this thing into the brackets for the self. So even though there's nothing here and there is self here, that is normal. So that is as it should be. And if I run that, it will print all those things just like that. And you can do other things here. You can print employee ID is kind of thing, right? Oops. Employee name is just like that, right? And so it does basically whatever you tell it to. You can also do another. Let's do a function that takes an additional argument. So, for example, maybe we get a bonus at the end of the year. So we want to calculate the bonus. Self, we always have to pass self, and then we also want another number for my bonus. Let's say it's called bonus %. Okay, and it's going to return self.salary times bonus %. Usually % is going to come, yeah, let's just leave it like that. Remember that you can't just say salary because it won't know what you mean. You need self.salary. That means it is the salary of this exact person, okay? So we can change this. Let's just keep it and let's add a new one. Bonus equals, okay, employee 2 dot calc bonus. Okay, but we need to put something. The self is already passed like automatically, but we need a bonus %. Say 10% bonus, just like that. And now we can just print our bonus. Run that, okay. And right, so there's our bonus. Okay, bonus of, okay, so 10% of 60,000 is 6,000, right? 6,000. Okay, so yes, we've learned how to set up the object. We've learned how to do kind of a regular print function, and we've learned another kind of function. Now, very often, we have employee 1 and employee 2. We've set them up like manually, but we might want to have like a list of employees. And so what we're going to do is make an employee list, and we'll have it empty for now. And then we're going to have for I in, how many employees should we have? Range, say 10 employees. Okay. Okay, so now I'm in a for loop. At the end of the for loop, I'm going to say employee list dot append. So I'm going to add a new employee just like this. Okay, and then I'm going to write some values in here. So I need a number, a name, a role. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some random numbers. Okay, let's import random here. Okay, and then we're going to say num equals random dot randint, and let's say between 1000 and 9999. So that gives me my employee number, and we'll say that's a string. Okay, and name choice equals, and we'll say that's a list of I don't know, let's pick some random names. John, Jack, Jim, Jones, Jenkins. I don't know, just some random. Okay, so we get random dot choice of one of these. And for our roles, we can have another random dot choice. Okay, cook, server, host, manager, whatever. You could have whatever you want there. And let's say everyone has the same salary, and so all we need is years. So we'll do another random.randint. Actually, we could just do that right in there. Okay, so what do I need first? We need the number, num. Okay, and then we're gonna get a, for the name, we'll take a random dot choice of this. Name choice. And then for the roles, we're gonna get a random dot choice of that. And what did I say? I said we're gonna just give everyone the same salary. And years, we can do another random dot randint. And say 2 to 9. Okay. So theoretically, I should have an employee list of 10 employees. Now, okay, let's delete that. So let's just print my list. See what happens. Run it. Okay, I have these objects, so obviously it doesn't know how to print the stuff. So I'm going to say for I in range length employee list. And then we'll say employee list I dot print, what was it called? Print variable. Bracket, bracket. So, yeah, basically, here is my object, and then here I'm calling that function. We'll print that, and there we go. All of my different objects. Okay, so here's the first one, 4491 Jenkins. Here's the second one, 3806 Jack. Okay, 9804, that guy's name is also Jack. They are manager, 50,000, 3 years experience. Okay, and so I can access each of my employee objects. We call them objects, whereas the template is called a class, but each individual one, here's one, here's one, here's one, each one individual one is called an object. Okay, yeah, so that should give you a pretty good idea how to deal with classes. And so that's all in this video. We'll see you in the next one.